Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled What If Donovan McNabb Chose North Carolina instead of Syracuse? But first, our disclaimer. The recruiting decision that begins this story is fictional. Everything that follows are speculative ripple effects of what would have happened if Donovan McNabb had committed to North Carolina instead of Syracuse. Every great college football program has a player who comes to define an era. Nebraska had Tommy Frazier. Virginia Tech had Michael Vick. Syracuse had Donovan McNabb. But what if one player who became the face of Syracuse football had never worn orange? What if one of the largest recruiting surprises of the 1990s, Mack Brown convinced Donovan McNabb to spend his college career in Chapel Hill instead? In our timeline, Donovan McNabb became the defining player of late 1990s Syracuse football. His combination of size, mobility, arm strength, and poise made him one of the nation's most exciting quarterbacks while helping elevate the Orange into one of the Big East's most respected programs. But in this alternate universe, North Carolina identifies that potential before Syracuse ever gets the chance to capitalize on it. Fresh off rebuilding North Carolina into a rising ACC program, Mack Brown makes McNabb one of the largest priorities in his recruiting class. Instead of selling wins and championships, the Tar Heels sell development. They promise McNabb that he'll be coached as a quarterback from day one, prepared for the NFL, and given every opportunity to become the face of the program. After one final visit to Chapel Hill, McNabb makes the decision that sends shockwaves through college football. North Carolina. The immediate impact is not dramatic. McNabb doesn't arrive and instantly take over the offense. Like many great quarterbacks, he spends time learning the system, adjusting to the speed of the college game, and waiting for his opportunity. That patience ends up paying enormous dividends. By the time McNabb becomes a starter, North Carolina already has one of the ACC's better rosters. What the Tar Heels had been missing was a quarterback capable of creating offense when everything else broke down. McNabb changes that overnight. A third and long scramble becomes a first down. A broken protection becomes a 40-yard completion. A game that once ended in a heartbreaking 4-point loss suddenly becomes a signature win. North Carolina doesn't suddenly replace Florida State as the ACC's dominant power, because quite frankly, that's never realistic. Instead, the Tar Heels become something every championship contender dreads facing, a complete team with a quarterback capable of changing the outcome of any game. 9 and 10 win seasons become more common. Top 15 finishes become almost routine. Every few years, North Carolina finds itself seriously discussed as an ACC title contender, and Chapel Hill develops a reputation as one of the conference's toughest road environments. Perhaps the largest ripple isn't found in the standings at all, it's found in recruiting. Quarterbacks around the country begin looking at North Carolina differently. If Donovan McNabb can become a future NFL franchise quarterback there, why can't they? That single commitment gives Mack Brown credibility at the sport's most important position, helping attract a higher caliber of offensive talent for years to come. Meanwhile, Syracuse faces a very different reality. Paul Pasqualoni is still an outstanding football coach and still develops NFL talent. The foundation doesn't go away. What disappears is the player who could rescue a game when things went wrong. Without McNabb extending drives with his legs or producing exciting plays out of nothing, a handful of swing games quietly flipped the other directions. Seasons that once finished 9 and 3 and 8 and 4 were now 7 and 5 and 6 seasons. Those may not sound like dramatic differences, but in college football, they're often the difference between finishing ranked and being largely forgotten outside your own fan base. Syracuse still has winning seasons and makes it to bowl games. They still send plenty of players to the NFL. They simply lose the national spotlight that Donovan McNabb brought to the program every Saturday afternoon. Those changes ripple across two conferences. The ACC doesn't gain another dynasty, but it does gain another consistently dangerous contender capable of disrupting the established order. Florida State remains the league's standard bearer, yet North Carolina now spends much of the late 90s firmly in the conversation behind the Seminoles. The Big East experiences a subtle change. Miami is still Miami, Virginia Tech still rises into national prominence, but without McNabb, Syracuse loses one of the personalities and playmakers that helped give the conference national visibility during its final great years before realignment reshaped the sport. Then comes the NFL. McNabb's physical gifts are simply too rare to ignore. He's still selected near the top of the first round. He's still viewed as a franchise quarterback. The only difference is the logo attached to his college highlights. Instead of introducing him as the greatest quarterback Syracuse ever produced, broadcasters spent the next decade talking about the quarterback who helped transform North Carolina from a good ACC program into one of the conference's most consistently respected contenders. One recruiting battle, one unexpected commitment, a stronger North Carolina. A Syracuse program that remains good but never quite reaches the same level of national attention. And one recruiting victory that quietly changes the trajectory of two proud football programs without ever rewriting the entire history of college football. And I'll see you in the next timeline.